Hey, what's up guys? I, like many people out there, am addicted to caffeine and I get it from coffee and espresso drinks. I, like a lot of other people out there as well, have gone through a lot of different stages in my life. You know, I used to have an espresso machine. I drink about a latte every day, and then I went to just drinking black coffee for, 6 months, and then I actually built a coffee shop right next to where I lived, and it was drive-through, so it was really hard to avoid it. I'd come home from taking the kids to daycare or something, I'll just stop by, see how it tastes, and got addicted to lattes again. So that's just a really short background of my history with caffeine and coffee. And recently I just moved to a new home, so that availability of having something literally within walking distance, it'd take me 5 minutes to go get a latte or a cappuccino or even a coffee. Now, if I do that at my new place, it's gonna take 10, 15, 20 minutes, and that's just too much time to justify going out and getting a coffee. So I began to wonder, what am I gonna do? I can't justify going out and doing that. I had a hard time just justifying spending the money. The latte that I would get would be around like $5, and then after the tip, it'd be $6. And at $6 a day, I just felt super guilty about it. So that's why I considered getting another espresso machine. Now, the espresso machine that I had in the past, the reason I retired it was because I just got tired of making the espresso. It was a lot of work. You have to grind up the coffee, you have to put it into the little holder, and you have to pack it down, and you put the holder on there, run some water, then you got to get your milk steam. It was just a whole ordeal, and I just got tired of doing it, so I started drinking coffee again. So I'm just trying to give you some background and context as to my thought process when I started looking at espresso machines again. And that was one of the reasons why I looked at this specific one over a lot of the others, was the fact that it's gonna do a lot of that work for you and fully automatic. So there I was thinking, do I even want to go that route and get an espresso machine, or just cut lattes out of my life and not worry about it? So price was a big deal for me. You can go out and spend thousands of dollars on a really nice machine, but for some reason in my brain, it just didn't make sense for me to do that. Even though if you add up $6 a day, that's like $2,200 for a year. That's crazy, and again, I felt super guilty. So I came across this guy, and I saw a lot of other people enjoyed using it, and it was only about $800. I'll throw a link in the description if you want to check it out, and maybe I'll throw it up on the screen right now. But when I did the math, I'm like, okay, that's about 130 days at $6 a day, 4.5 months, I will get my money's worth or get the value out of it. So I felt comfortable justifying taking the risk, buying this machine, knowing that, hey, maybe I don't even like the way it works or the taste of the coffee that it makes and that sort of thing. So for this video review, I want to cover the cons, the pros, give my opinion of the machine if I'd recommend it. Feel free to use the timeline to skip ahead, but let's not waste any more time and just get right into it with the cons. So the biggest con that I could see with this machine is I was replacing like a medium-sized drink. If you go to Starbucks, I think it's the Grande. I think it was actually a 16-ounce drink that I would drink every day. But anywhere from like that 12 to 20 ounces is your medium-sized drink. And this thing actually doesn't make a medium-size latte or cappuccino. If you want that, you actually have to do it twice, which isn't a big deal, but it's kind of a bummer. It's automatic, but it's like, well, halfway through, I have to go press the button again. The other thing is, this raises up and down, but you can't fit a normal medium-sized drink once you include this. It actually won't fit in there. You can see something like this, which is a little bit taller than a medium, but it definitely won't fit in there. So if you want a medium drink, what I end up doing is I do one drink, pour it in, do another drink, pour it in. And when you pour it in, you might even be mixing the milk foam and the drink a little too much, so it doesn't have that separation as much. Not a big deal. All right, now another little con gripe that I had with this thing is if you go to make a espresso and there's not enough water, it'll stop midway through the pour and say out of water, in which case you gotta go get the water, replace it, put it back in, and then it'll finish the pour. Now, I'm not a coffee connoisseur expert, but I think that would actually mess with the shot in terms of, I think you want it all to come out at consistent pressure, temperature, and all be done at once, not pausing midway through the middle, which normally it doesn't do that, but you need to check and make sure you have enough water, which isn't always gonna happen. I mean, there's definitely gonna be times where you go to make one and it's gonna pause midway through or even 25% through and then do the other 75% after you replenish the water. And in that case, that could be an entire drink where it's like, I'm gonna toss that one because it doesn't have the right flavor or taste, or it's just different. So that could be a little bit of a con. The only way to fix that is just maybe have the sensor in there saying, hey, in order to do a full shot, I need more water, and don't just start doing it. One strange thing that I'm not too fond of is this is the brew group right here. And the way you remove it is you put your hands here and you push, and then you take it out. And you can see mine gets kind of caught up and stuck. And sometimes it takes me a little effort to get it out. Now, not a big deal at all, but at first I was worried, like, wait a minute, am I not doing this right? Is there a reason why it's stuck? And I didn't want to break it pulling it out. I've learned how to get it to wiggle out, but not a big deal. I can definitely get it out, but if you're struggling to get it out, just know, just wiggle it around some more. It'll eventually come out. This is the brew group. That's where it makes the puck. And when you clean this, it's just running it underwater for a rinse. All right, so these last two cons, to be honest, you can probably tell is I'm just fishing. I'm just trying to figure out, what am I gonna say bad about this machine? Which, with a lot of the reviews I do, I usually can find bad things about stuff, but it was kind of hard to find bad things about this. So one thing that I could think of is it's pretty loud. I don't know if it's any louder than my last machine, but I think it is just slightly a little bit louder. So that could be a con. And the only reason I thought of that is, you know, if you have like a ranch and your significant other is sleeping, or your kids or something, and you come out and you go to make a latte, I could see it waking them up. I wouldn't worry too much about it, but there is the possibility of that. Something that I think comes with most espresso machines, but just to help you, if you're in this situation, think, oh, that might actually be a deal breaker. Maybe I should just stick to my coffee. Just know that it does make quite a bit of noise. And then the last con is when you get a new machine, you're excited to use it, so you'll probably use it a little bit more than you would normally. So you might end up increasing your caffeine addiction, which could be viewed as a bad thing. I definitely know there's been days where before this, I just would have powered through, but I'm like, you know what, cappuccino midday, why not? I'll go take a shot of espresso. I've got the machine. I'm trying to do a review on it. I want to use it a lot. It just definitely incentivized me to drink more coffee, which could be a bad or a good thing. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And that was really it for the cons that I could think of, which shows that it's a pretty darn good machine. Another thing I considered was like, it's not big enough in terms of it could hold more water, or this reservoir down here could be bigger. But then I thought, well, then if it's bigger, it's going to take up more space on your countertop. And I think it's a good, efficient use of space, especially for being a fully automatic machine. So I couldn't justify throwing that in as a con. It holds beans, it holds water. It has fully automatic brew group that compresses the coffee and it pours it, and it has quite a big reservoir relative to other ones that I've seen in the past. So it's like, I couldn't do it. I think it's a really good machine, which is a great segue into the pros. So you could argue this first pro is an opinion, which I'm gonna say the price is a pro, because I could definitely see somebody saying that's a con. $800 is a lot of money to spend on an appliance, a espresso coffee maker, and you can definitely get them at a lower cost. Now, finding one that's a fully automatic espresso machine, you might struggle to find a lower cost. And at $800 for a fully automatic one that, in my opinion, is good quality and makes a really good tasting drink, I think it's a great value. Back to what I was saying in the beginning, if I drink a $6 drink every single day, it's gonna take me 4.5 months to get my money back and to justify getting this. And then every drink after that is just kind of paying dividends and saving me money. I did do some research, and I did see other people saying they've had this machine for over a year and that it still works great. So I'm confident that it's gonna last a long time. I've only been using it 2.5 months and it's not had any issues. So that's why I think it is a really good price for what you're getting. All right, let's get to arguably the most important part of this whole video, answering the questions, how does it taste? Does it make good drinks? Now, full disclaimer, I'm not a coffee connoisseur. I'm not an espresso expert that can, like with wine, taste different ones and like, oh yes, this one was not the right temperature when they pulled it through the puck and yada yada. I'm just your average everyday person, and most people have had a really good drink because they go to one of these big places like Starbucks and they've got nice expensive machines and they make great drinks. Now, I think this makes an excellent espresso, which in my opinion, that's where the value is. Like, if I can't tell this came from an $800 machine or a $5,000 machine, then I'm not gonna spend that $5,000. Now, I have had some bad espresso, and I can tell you with certainty that this doesn't make a bad espresso shot. I think the drinks are fantastic. All right, so the next pro kind of goes into taste. It's really consistent, surprisingly consistent. the drink tastes the same every single day. And the reason I bring that up is before, when I had an espresso machine, I make it myself. I remember that it wasn't always consistent, and I think it was user error that, you know, between grinding the coffee, packing it down, the amount that I put in and stuff. It's just nice that this is consistent, where when I made it personally, it wasn't always consistent. And just to wrap up all the pros, I think it's a really good design, and I think it's gonna be durable, it's easy to clean, and I just think it's gonna stand the test of time. Now, I did say in the cons that it is a little bit difficult, at least for my machine, to remove the brew group, but other than that, it's a really good design. I mean, how easily this comes on and off. You just put it on right there, and how easy it is to clean this. It's really impressive and a great design. The way this slides out, it holds a ton of water, it holds a lot of pucks. Like, again, I think it uses the space super efficiently. It's amazing that it does everything it does. Stores the water, has a reservoir, your milk, does it all automatically, has the brew group and everything in there. It's really impressive in my opinion. I can't really speak too much to the durability other than from reading other people's reviews, but so far with my machine, I definitely haven't cleaned the brew group once a week like Philips recommends, which basically you just take out the brew group and rinse it underwater. That's what they're saying. And then every, like, I don't know, 6 months or something, you're supposed to put a little bit of grease on some of the moving parts. So it's not like it's super hard or anything, but I haven't done that and I haven't had an issue, which I don't recommend that, but my point is that it works even when you don't do what the recommended maintenance is. All right, so would I recommend this machine? Yes. Do I think you should buy it? That depends. If you're a coffee connoisseur and you want the best espresso, then no, I don't think you should get this machine. I'm not gonna tell you that it makes the best espresso out there. I know there's machines that you can spend thousands of dollars on that will make a better espresso than this machine. However, for someone like me though, I can't really tell the difference between the taste there, so that value is not worth it for me. But if that's something you want and something that's important to you, then I don't think that you should buy this machine. Now, if you're super into getting the best value, then I also don't think you should get this machine. If you're willing to do a little bit of labor, a little bit of work, you can get an espresso machine for under $800. The advantage of this guy is just the fact that it's automatic, that it does a lot of the work for you. But if that's the way you think and you wanna make sure you're getting a good value and you're not overpaying for something, just do a little bit of work and buy one of those espresso machines that's like, you know, under 500 bucks. There's a lot of options out there, and a lot of them that actually do make a great espresso. So the only people that I think will really like this machine are ones that are willing to pay more for convenience, having that fully automatic thing, and the ones that really aren't like coffee connoisseurs and aren't gonna be able to tell the difference between some crazy, really nice machine and something like this, which is where I fall into. And that's why I think I'm so satisfied and happy with the machine. It really is one of my favorite best buys that I've done recently that I'm super happy about and glad that I did it. If you did like the video and you wanna let me know, the best way is to just like or subscribe. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.